And joining us here on Jones and Keefe on WEEI is Tommy Curran, NBC Sports Boston. He's brought to you by FlexCar. Save thousands with your flexible car lease at flexcar.com. Tommy Curran, why do you feel that the Patriots should feel validated on that decision? Why did you feel compelled to write that?
Because they're 1-0 thanks to decision-making and efficient quarterback play and game planning and having an identity. And I think that having an older offensive coordinator who's been around the league, who understands what a first week of the season is going to look like, understands building from scratch, installing an offense that can be efficient, and then turning it over to somebody that he trusts, and then realizing that first win, it does validate it. If it took 7 weeks, fellas, if it took 8 weeks, and we saw week after week of 34-3 and them not able to get out of their own way, then you say, well, yeah, you can't really say it's validated now, but to do it on the first week on the road against a good team, albeit a little dinged up, it is a slow starting team, but regardless, to surpass the expectations the way you did, it's really, you should holster your complaints about the direction or the decision, at least. Direction's a different conversation.
You know, Drake Maye said that the whole conversation about the offensive line has been overblown because one of the big talking points for maybe Jacoby Brissett starting and Drake Maye not starting was because of how bad the offensive line was. You know, we all watched the preseason games. You were down at all the practices. I know they looked pretty good in week 1, but was it overblown, or was there a time where the offensive line really was that bad?
Well, it does get to a point where it's overblown when people are talking about, well, Drake Maye's going to get murdered, Jacoby Brissett's going to be, maimed. No, it's not going to happen that way because you can control, as Alex Van Pelt did, the nature of the game with your play calling, with the people you keep in. You can't control it as a quarterback how often you get smashed by making good decisions. And he still took a pretty good bouncing around. So I think it was a little bit overblown in terms of the dire aspects of it. But look, I thought that they would get sacked 7 times. I said that kind of offhandedly and jokingly. And when I'm thinking about, they're never going to stand back there long enough to take 7 sacks. They'll hand it off before they're taking 7 sacks. So, yeah, you can manage it. And I think it was overblown. It doesn't mean that they're, the Hogs. They're not going to shut anybody down. They're not San Francisco. Mm-hmm. But if you can play to your strength and stay ahead or within a score, then you can have it on your terms. If he had to drop back 35 times, it wouldn't have been pretty.
No, that's true. And we've seen that in the past with Jacoby Brissett. I think he took 52 sacks way back in 2017, something like that. Tom, you're talking about the decision-making to bring in Mayo and empower Van Pelt. How about on the field? What stood out to you the most among the players in their performance against Cincinnati?
I think defensively they picked up right where they had left off in terms of being an unbelievably good tackling team. What also stood out to me relative to what we've seen in the past is their conditioning and their toughness. They were not a disciplined team in either of the last 2 years by any stretch of the imagination. They were fairly situationally stupid. Astonishingly so, which would make all of us laugh every week when, the C-list announcing crew would come in and there'd be a first penalty in the second snap of the game. And they go, well, it's not like a Bill Belichick team. And you're like, yes, it is. So I think that was eye-opening. And the fact that they, really played very reminiscent of and 2000 to 2005 circa Patriots team. And they don't have a trademark on it that period of time. The Titans would play like that. But it was ball control. And see if you agree with this, former college football player or not, Rich.
Yes.
Yeah, not me.
Organized. No, I know, but you know.
No, I'm saying
you've been around it.
No, I'm making it clear to the audience that I was not the college football player. Yeah. That's all. Yeah.
But if you look at just the cogency of the offensive play calls, there was no ridiculous jet motion sweep, pitch, throwback, double reverse, screen, and sometimes it's going to call for that. But we used to see that a little bit in the last couple of years and go, who are you? What are you doing? What was that play supposed to accomplish? And I can't think of a single play, and that includes the downfield throw to Tyquan Thornton at the beginning of the second half, that didn't have a purpose. There was a purpose behind that throw. I didn't love it because you went 3 and out. Mm-hmm.
No, it was.
It seemed like there was a purpose, Rich.
Yeah, no, it was, and it felt like it was pretty straightforward. And even when you talk about the second half, where Cincinnati knows what the Patriots are going to run, everybody in the stadium knows what they're going to run. They have a sixth offensive lineman in, they have two tight ends. They're going to run it, and they were still able to run it. So even though they only scored one touchdown, it was still an impressive offensive performance because of just how much they dominated the play. And Rhamondre Stevenson, this is where I wanted to go with it, Tom. Stevenson had such a great game, 25 carries. He wanted the ball even more, and yet if he does get 25 carries a game, that'll set an NFL record for most carries in a season. So I'm curious, how can this offense, or can this offense still be good enough, still be successful if they don't give the ball to Stevenson that many times? Because that was really the key.
Yes, they can. They have to obviously get Antonio Gibson dusted off and comfortable. Kevin Harris is on the practice squad. There's going to be an occasion at which some point you're going to have a Rhamondre Stevenson calf injury, hamstring injury. It's inevitable playing that position. He's probably not 100% today,
right,
although I don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you can ride him. I mean, he can be a 250 carry player. So what's that? 17, 25, 20. That's still a lot. 17 times 20 is what, 340?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we don't know. Short answer, we don't know. But yeah, you're in the ballpark.
No, it is. It's 340, which
go.
is still, that would be up there. The most carries of all time. I was just looking this up. Larry Johnson.
Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry, no, Larry Johnson had 416 carries in 2006 for the Chiefs. That is insane.
Wow.
Jamal Anderson had a bunch with the Dirty Birds when they went to the Super Bowl. A lot of Eric Dickerson. Pretty much every year with Eric Dickerson, he had a ton of carries.
Give him the rock.
But yeah, that's what they're talking about. Like they set a great tone, but really besides that, there wasn't much going offensively for them.
No, but there was at least there has to be a way to feature Demario Douglas more than he was. There has to be a way to figure out how to get the ball to Jalen Polk. None of that happened. I think that's probably, you sit down in the casino, you're fresh out of the shower. I'm going to play conservative here. I'm going to try and get ahead. All right, now I'm ahead. I'm going to try and stay ahead.
Yeah.
All right, let's go get dinner.
Yep.
So there was a lot of that.
Tommy Curran, NBC Sports Boston, brought to you by FlexCar. And it's now time for Tommy Curran's Flex of the Game, presented by FlexCar. You can ditch the dealership and save thousands with FlexCar. We saw Jacoby Brissett. We talked about the offense in that game. What now, Tom, is the plan for Drake Maye? I know Gerard Mayo doesn't want to go there. He doesn't want to give details. There is a plan for Drake Maye. What's your understanding on what that is going forward, and how much time did the Patriots buy themselves with Jacoby Brissett with that Week 1 win?
Yeah, Phil Perry reported during our pregame show that this past week Drake Maye did get more than the normal number of reps that a backup quarterback would get in preparing for a team. And that's more of an orientation, a weekly orientation. So whereas you might say, okay, this guy's going to get 8 reps and Jacoby's going to get 14 or even more, 16 and 4, they're making sure that Drake Maye gets more reps during practices to see things and to develop. But I really do think that ideally, I really believe the Patriots would be quite happy to be 5-3 with Jacoby Brissett and be able to say, you know what? Drake can sit all year. Just get better. We'll cross that bridge when we need to with him. And I think that would be their ideal. I think that they are fully committed to having him sit as long as flipping possible.
So if Drake Maye's going to sit, the next guy they drafted was Jalen Polk. So if I'm not going to get Drake Maye, I at least got to see Jalen Polk. And he played a bunch of snaps, but you didn't notice him. He had one catch, and I know it wasn't much of a passing game, and let's be honest, it might not be much of a passing season. But what do you think of the wide receiver pecking order right now? KJ Osborne does very little for me. I know Booty didn't play, and Baker was inactive. So are we going to see more of Polk, a little bit more of Pop Douglas, or is this just going to be a running attack?
They're going to have to get those guys involved, and I'm sure that will be a priority to see those plays during this week where Jacoby, it's pointed out, you might have had Polk here, you might have had Demario, and there was a play on actually with the throw, I believe, that went to Polk. Demario Douglas was coming underneath on a crosser, and he was even more open and had some space in front of him. But again, first week, first time, it doesn't surprise me that Jacoby Brissett likes, where's KJ Osborne? Because he knows exactly where he's supposed to be, and he's been in the league for 8 years. Where is Hunter Henry? Where's Austin Hooper? He's played in this offense. Cleveland never plays else. I'm going to throw it to those guys. But, yeah, you're not going to draft these guys and ignore their development or the possibility of development. So I would imagine that's something that they will try and highlight and focus on.
You mentioned a 5-3 start. I think you're just spitballing there, but
spitballing.
but that's fine. But
Lock it in.
I'll go out on a limb and say I think 3-0 is in play. I think Seattle's beatable. I didn't like what I saw out of the Jets last night. Like, how winnable are these games the next couple of weeks in your estimation?
Very, and I feel the same way. I just looking a little more closely at the Seattle game book and some of the details today as I get ready for Quick Slants at 6. That looked like a horrible game to watch. They took a safety on a holding in the end zone at the beginning of the game. They took 2 safeties. Neither team was over 33% on third down. Geno didn't have good numbers. Anyway, yes, they can definitely – Seattle's probably in the same general class as the Patriots, though more experienced. And then you have the Jets, who didn't wow me either. And the Patriots defense will be a great equalizer, I think, every week they go out there. If the games can stay close enough, you're still going to be in a position to, not get out of your identity as an offense. What will be interesting is we saw a game-ending drive in which you're taking knees. The next step would be a game-ending drive in which you're behind and go ahead. And we've seen far too few of those in the past 6 years.
Yeah, and I think, obviously this is a really good defense is what the Patriots have, and you just wonder, is there kind of that magic number? Because the Patriots offense, we know is going to have to score more than 16 every game, but is there one where you think the defense and Rhamondre Maye say, all right, as long as the offense can get to this, then it's up to us as a defensive first team to come out with a win?
I felt like 17 is the number. I mean, honestly, last year I thought when Bill O'Brien was coming back and Mac was going to return to being what he was in 2021 and not realizing just how bad the Juju Smith-Schuster in for Jacoby Myers out was, I was like, you should be able to with a straight face, get yourself to 24 points a game in the modern NFL. Well, they were 2 touchdowns short of that. So this year I'm reconfiguring to get to 17.3 points per game.
Got it.
And it's even more important to score this year because there's one stiff quarterback that they see the entire year who qualifies as okay. And that would be Will Levis. Mm-hmm. And he might not even be a stiff. I don't know.
It looks like it so far.
Yeah,
so far he
is.
Pretty
stiff-like in week 1, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, that's the upcoming schedule for the Patriots. Real quick, Tom, the text line wants to know, and I guess I didn't pick up on this. They're not has-beens, they were never were. Is that that's a Mighty Ducks reference? Is that what that is?
No.
Oh, it's not.
No, that doesn't fall in my.
That's when the
coach, his Q zone.
That's when the coach of the Hawks says it to Gordon Bombay. You're not a has-been. You never was. Yeah, no, that's not what that was. Okay.
Why did that fall in my window?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Not in the current kids window either. No, it's a good sports flick.
Because they were, and you know what? I kept them away from hockey. I'll be candid.
Yep. Smart, expensive as hell.
I'm watching hockey. Next thing I know, I'm up at 4 a.m. at the rink.
Smart.
Paying for new skates every year. Oh,
it's a good move, Tom.
Disaster.
He's a smart man. You can check him out on Quick Slants. You can check him out all over NBC Sports Boston. And Thursdays on WEEI afternoons with Andy Hart and Christian Arcand. Tommy Curran, we appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys. Great fun.
Thank you, Tom.
Fun.
Always is.